And then another thing in doing the right thing, you always need to have a clean conscience. Business, you hear that business is cutthroat, you got to take shortcuts. I don't believe that. I think you can always do the right thing, and that's also good business. They are not contradictory. One of the sayings that Narayana Murthy told me, and it's not his original, it's a well-known saying even before that, is a clean conscience is the softest pillow. So when you go to bed at night to get your sleep, the softest pillow is a clean conscience. So always do the right thing. And the other interesting thing that's connected to that is the more you chase success for its own sake, however you define success, the more elusive it becomes. But the more you focus on doing the right thing, the more success will chase you. So again, do the right thing. That's my second lesson. And the third one is to enjoy the journey. A few years ago, I got an email from someone, and it said, a doctor's definition of life. And this is how a doctor defined life. He said, life is an incurable disease with a terrible prognosis. Okay, incurable disease with a terrible prognosis. So when I first read that, I didn't like it. It made me angry. It seemed like a very fatalistic and very pessimistic comment. But because I didn't like it, it stayed with me for a few days. And after I thought about it for a couple of days, I said, you know what, I still don't like it, but it is true. It's going to end someday. So the prognosis is not good, and nothing can be done to cure that. So what do? The journey is all we have. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. The journey of life is all we have. So if you don't enjoy what you're doing, it's not worth it. So if you wake up and if you don't feel like going to work, look for some other work. Don't do that work. And if you do like what you do, you don't have to work a day in your life. You'll enjoy it, you'll work hard, and still not feel like you're working at all. So we need to focus on the journey. In our case, it was about, what can we do in terms of helping our employees and customers. It was not about some of these financial metrics that I shared with you. It was not about when can we take a company public. It was not about when can we get $1 billion valuation. It was not about when can we get our sales about 300 million. It was about day in and day out, do we enjoy working with each other? Can we make our lives better? Can we make our employees' lives better? Can we make our customers' lives better? So focus on the journey. Since it's the Olympics time, I'll give you an example from two things from the Olympics. One is you should all read the Olympics Creed. I don't remember the full Olympics Creed, but the basic essence of it is that it talks about this journey and not the destination. It says life is not about the triumph, it's about the struggle. You get more pleasure in doing something than in achieving the results of that fruit, of that labor. So focus on the journey, focus on your efforts, don't focus so much on the reward. The reward will come by itself. The other Olympic example is, everybody knows Michael Phelps, right? The most decorated Olympic contestant ever. I don't remember his total medal count, over 20 something. The second highest is 18 or 19, something like that. In terms of gold medals, he's way beyond anyone else has ever gotten. Not this Olympics, but 4 years ago, during the Olympics, he was apparently sitting at Beijing at the hotel, and no reporter was going to him. All the reporters were chasing Rafael Nadal, who was a big superstar at that time, and he won the gold. And they were chasing Kobe Bryant, the basketball player from the US, who was also a big superstar. So all the reporters were chasing them. And here was this guy, Michael Phelps, who was supposed to win 8 gold medals, which he did in Beijing. He was expected to win the gold medal in every event he competed in, which was never done before. And he was just sitting there, no one was going to him. So one reporter went up to him and said, how come no one's coming to you? Doesn't that bother you? And his response was, no, I'm just going with the flow. Now, you can take that in one of two ways. I've always believed that you should go with the flow, which means don't take life too seriously. Don't take every little thing too seriously. Look past little problems and just move on. And I was telling my nephew this story, and actually this story hadn't come up. I was just telling him my philosophy, And I was saying, you know, go with the flow. Don't get too hung up on all these little things. And he had come to the US to go to Georgia Tech, and he was staying with us. So when I told him that, he immediately, I said, go with the flow. And he immediately said, oh, only dead fish go with the flow. So I guess he heard that in his school at some management conference or something. And he said, no, we got to fight against the stream. We got to do what we need to do. And I understand that part too. But then 2 days later, this Michael Phelps interview came where Michael Phelps said, I'm going with the flow. So I showed it to him and said, this is, you know, what I meant. Michael Phelps does not just, I mean, he's very focused on his training. He didn't win 8 gold medals without a lot of work. He worked harder than pretty much anyone in this room ever has probably to get to that level of success. But in spite of doing that, he didn't get too focused on himself. He didn't get too cocky. He was willing to just, you know, not let little things bother him and take that attitude that he was going with the flow. And my last word of advice would be, and this is not only for success in business, but success in life and your own satisfaction and happiness, is be a bargain in life. Excuse me. What I mean by that is give others more than you expect in return. If you do that with your employees, if you do that with your business partners, if you do that with your customers, if you don't get constantly into this fight of am I getting enough for what I'm doing, you will actually end up getting a lot more than if you had fought, and you can sleep better at night, you'll be more satisfied, and you'll lead a better life. So I hope some of these points would be useful to you guys as you start thinking about starting your companies and being successful entrepreneurs. I'm sure with a center like CEDI, you guys will be even a lot more successful than Manhattan Associates ever was. Wish you all the very best, and thank you for listening to me.
Keep it simple, do it right, and enjoy the journey. That's what we have to say. Just do it. You're sure, sir, we'll be flying bumblebees soon.